Have you ever sent a Bitcoin transaction and then just sat there, staring at your screen, wondering why nothing is happening? If that sounds familiar, then you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on why transactions get stuck and, more importantly, how you can take control and get them moving again using two really powerful tools: replace by fee and child pays for parent.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the where, the mempool, and then dig into the why of these digital traffic jams. After that, we'll get to the good stuff, the how. We'll look at the two key strategies to get you unstuck, and then we'll wrap it all up with the one big thing you need to remember.
All right, first things first. Before you can solve a problem, you really have to understand the place where it's happening. And for unconfirmed Bitcoin transactions, that place is called the mempool.
Oh man, it's a feeling anyone who's been around Bitcoin for a while knows all too well. You hit send, you check the block explorer, and you see, well, nothing. It's just sitting there pending. We call this a stuck transaction. It hasn't failed, but it definitely hasn't succeeded either.
So why is it stuck? The reason is this place called the mempool, which is short for memory pool. The easiest way to think about it is as a personal waiting room that every single node on the Bitcoin network keeps for itself. It's kind of like limbo, where your transaction hangs out after you've sent it, but before a miner has picked it up and put it in a block.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. There isn't one single giant mempool for the whole network. Nope, every node has its own version, its own list of waiting transactions. They all talk to each other to try and stay in sync, but they're all individual. This is a core part of Bitcoin's decentralized design. Your one transaction is actually sitting in thousands of these different waiting rooms all at the same time.
Okay, so we know where the transactions are waiting. Now let's talk about how that waiting room can get so incredibly crowded that it causes a network-wide traffic jam, leaving your transaction stuck on the side of the road.
You know, the best way to picture this is a super busy airport. All of the unconfirmed transactions, those are the passengers waiting at the gate. That whole gate area is the mempool. And the plane, which is the next block on the blockchain, it only has so many seats. The miners, they're the gate agents deciding who gets to board next.
So how do they decide? Well, it's not first come, first served. It is pure, simple economics. Block space is a limited resource, and miners are running a business. They get paid from the fees attached to every transaction. So to make the most money, they're always going to prioritize the passengers, the transactions that are paying the highest price for a seat.
And this brings us to the most important metric of all, the fee rate. Your priority has nothing to do with how much Bitcoin you're sending. It's all about your fee rate. This is the price you're bidding for that block space, and it's measured in Satoshis per virtual byte, or SAT/VB. The higher your SAT/VB, the more you're waving a flag at miners saying, "Hey, pick me, I'm more profitable."
What this all means is that you're in a competitive market. If you send a transaction with a low fee when the network is really busy, it's like trying to get on a sold-out flight with a standby ticket. You're just going to keep getting bumped by people who paid more. Your transaction could end up waiting for hours, maybe even days, or eventually nodes might just give up on it and drop it from their mempool completely. But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. You're not helpless here. If your transaction gets stuck, you don't just have to sit there and hope for the best. There are well-established tools you can use to basically raise your bid and get that transaction confirmed.
The two big ones are replaced by fee, or RBF, and child pays for parent, or CPFP. Here's a simple way to think about them. RBF is something the sender does to fix their own transaction. CPFP is a clever trick that even the receiver of the funds can use to speed things up. Let's break down how they each work.
Okay, let's dive into method number 1, replace by fee. This is the most direct approach, and it's a tool for the person who sent the Bitcoin in the first place.
RBF is basically like tearing up your original cheap plane ticket and buying a new one with a first-class upgrade. Your wallet builds a brand new transaction that spends the exact same Bitcoin as the stuck one. The key difference is that this new version has a much more attractive fee rate. When you send it out, miners see it's more profitable, so they just drop your old low-fee transaction and replace it with this new better one. Problem solved.
All right, now for method 2, child pays for parent. This one is really clever, and like I said, it's a total game changer because it can be used by the person who's receiving the stuck transaction.
So here's the logic. The original stuck transaction that's coming to you, that's the parent. What you do is create a brand new child transaction that immediately spends those coins you haven't even received yet. And here's the trick.
You attach a massive fee to this new child transaction. Now, a miner sees this juicy fee, but they realize they can't actually claim it until they first confirm the parent transaction. So it incentivizes them to mine both transactions together as one big, profitable package deal.
And that right there is the magic of something called the effective fee rate. Even though that parent transaction has a pathetic fee, the super high fee child raises the combined profitability of the whole chain. Miners don't see two separate deals anymore. They see one incredibly attractive package. The child is literally paying for its parent to get included in the block. It's brilliant.
So we've walked through the waiting room, the traffic jam, and these two awesome tools. What's the bottom line? What's the most important thing to take away from all of this?
The big thing to remember is this: you are in the driver's seat. A stuck transaction is just a temporary problem, not a permanent one. Once you understand that the mempool is just a competitive market for block space, and you learn to use tools like RBF and CPFP, which are built into most modern wallets, you become an active player who can make sure your transactions always get where they need to go.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. Now that you know how to strategically bump the priority of your own transactions, how does that change the way you think about Bitcoin's fee market? It's not this static thing. It's a living, breathing system. And now you have the tools to navigate it like a pro.